Sorry, brother. Well, I'm no star. I'm just your brother here. We're just going to sit together and talk. And I'm not going to talk to you about all the problems our country is facing because you know that. I mean, the fact is you're here because we want to redress the issues that the other panelists talk about and did such a good job doing it. The thing is that we are a collection of leaders here today, and we need to sit down and talk about business, about how to organize the people. So let's talk about leadership and how to pump up, build, and strengthen the progressive movement. First of all, we've done the right thing. We put the vision up on the wall, and we had the panelists who talked so far talk about where we need to go. And we could probably get most of you in this room up on this panel who can do as able a job to talk about the vision. But don't shortchange the vision. The vision is very important because we don't know where we're going, we don't know where to go. So thank you for outlining the vision clearly. The vision is all about all of us together. Everybody counts, everybody matters. Everything else is an expansion on that theme. The thing is, though, is that we have real problems in our struggle, real problems in keeping it together. So I want to talk about that for just a few minutes. And I want to start out by talking about 1964 as being the low point for their movement. It's 1964, they hit rock bottom. They were in trouble. They were on the ropes. They were almost knocked out and felt like they were just about to quit. Barry Goldwater had gotten some real ugly results in the campaign, and it was bad times in the conservative movement. But they organized, they were patient. Please say the word patient with me. Patient. Thank you. And they understood that to project a vision that would benefit only about 1% of the people, but get half the people of the country or more to vote for it, was going to take a lot of work. And so they got to the business. Remember in 1973, remember Lewis Powell, Powell Manifesto, wrote a document to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce that said, here's what we do. Basically, that's what the document said, here's what we do. He said we got to go on the campus, we got to contest, we got to make people think that we should run government like a business. We should make people think that, hey, running things like a business is a good thing to do. Notwithstanding WorldCom and Enron, we all know what happens when you run government like a business today. But my point is simply this, that in 1973, we didn't have the Cato and the Heritage, we didn't have all these right-wing think tanks that we have today. What they did is they invested and they worked hard over the longer term. And so, you might be mad at the Congress because we didn't end the war in 6 months. But I'm here to ask you for us not to fall out over tactics and strategies. Don't be patient with bad results. Don't be satisfied that we're not out. Be absolutely dissatisfied, but don't turn your dissatisfaction into a cannibalistic enterprise. Listen, if you want to win, if you want universal health care coverage, if you want to have a sustainable relationship with creation, if you want peace, it's going to take everyone. It's going to take labor. It's going to take communities of color. It's even going to take some politicians like Jan and I. And the fact is, we've got to remember that in the progressive movement, we're frustrated. We have not been in charge very long, and we are itching for real change, and we want it now. And sometimes when you're in that frame of mind, you turn on the people who you think didn't deliver for you fast enough. This is not the time to do that. This is the time for us to stick together and to build into our movement a way to resolve conflict. Let me give you an example. I'm so glad that somebody thinks it's a good thing that after this horrible war for 6 years that I was protesting before it started, that within 6 months we were able to put something on the president's desk that said, we're going to get out and here's when. Of course, he vetoed it. I don't expect you to be happy with the outcome. But I am glad somebody said that, well, that's a good thing. We should always understand that it's a hard and difficult thing, but also a good thing when communities of diverse political interests come together and say, here, we're going to get out now. And we should understand that it's the role of the activist to keep the pressure up, to keep the heat on. So when people protested in my office because I voted for timelines and deadlines, I said, welcome, and here's some donuts, and stay as long as you like. And the reason that I did is not to be a smart aleck, but because I want activists to know that it's their energy, their passion, and their desire for change that helps fuel me. Let me tell you, LBJ did not inspire Martin Luther King. Okay, let me just say it again. LBJ or Humphrey or Eugene McCarthy, two great Minnesotans, did not inspire the civil rights movement. And I hate to tell you this, but don't look to Congress for inspiration to end the war. You look, politicians see the light when they feel the heat. Understand the proper relationship between us, all right? And I love people like Paul Wellstone. He's why I decided to go into... I never put down my picket sign. I can't wait to pick it up again. But the reason that I opted to go into electoral politics is because of politicians like Paul Wellstone who said, you know what? We can't just make a bold, grand statement about the exploitation of workers. We ought to stop the exploitation of workers. And so I got into politics in an effort to try to do that. But I know very well, and he knew very well, that it's the relationship between us that can help get the job done. Fuel the passion. I'm just going to sit down in a moment, but I just want to say that I have a few points I want to make. First of all, within our progressive movement, as I already said, we got to right the vision. We have to find a way to resolve conflict internally. We have to put the movement in front of the individual. We have to be absolutely dissatisfied when one constituent group amongst us is not in the conversation. Let me tell you, don't tell me about how people of color communities don't want to be involved in politics. Desperately we do, and we should always, whenever we have an anti-war march that's all white, we should always look around and say, this is not what our family looks like. We have to find a way to... We have to find a way to always bring people together. And here's another thing. We have to recognize that we won the battle against Jim Crow. Now, here's what I mean by that. Within our movement, we can have leadership, all colors, all cultures, and all faiths, no matter what the majority of the body of the people look like within. You understand what I mean? We won that battle. We have defeated the idea that a person's ability is somehow wrapped up in their level of pigmentation or their faith. So we've won that battle. So let's make sure that we bring people in, that we make sure an inclusive struggle is what we have. And then I just want to end by saying that we've got to make sure that with our long-term vision, with our inclusive body of believers, I'll call you, that with our method of resolving conflict within, which is so vitally important, that we continue to strengthen ways that we communicate with each other. We've got to continue this. The bloggers, there's something new somebody's thinking up now. Let's make sure that this movement is always on the cutting edge of it, because the more we talk, the more we share, the more we understand where each other are, the more we can act as an organized, concerted body to establish the vision that we talked about in the very beginning. September is going to be a critical month to help end this war. I'm hoping that in every local area that somebody comes from, every community, every county, every city, every small town, everywhere, that we are all focused on putting maximum pressure on our political leaders to end the war and to make it impossible for them to go on with this war after September. That's what we got to do. Thank you. Peace.